Hello guys, welcome to another edition of Ray Sports News and Debates. Okay, in today's video, we're going to be going over one of the more controversial topics in the NBA, and that's the load management situation we have right now. Me, as a fan, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing about it. I'm tired of hearing about it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of solutions. If I'm Adam Silver, I'm taking into account for the next season. Okay, and I will give credit where credit is due. I think Adam Silver did the right thing, and he made the awards, the requirements a little bit more stricter. Okay, so for example, to qualify for to be eligible for the MVP award, first, second, third team All NBA, first, second, third team, defense team, you have to play in at least 65 games. Okay, so it allows you to miss 17 games of the season. But it accentuates you to work 65 to get these MVP and these awards. Okay. Now, why are the MVP and why are the All-NBA awards important, you might ask? Okay. So, for these players that make the first team and second, it's mainly the first team NBA. A couple of people have second team NBA incentives on their contracts. But if you make first team All-NBA, you at some point will become eligible for what they call a supermax contract. That's like the biggest contract that you could get for your team. So if I'm Giannis, it's, I make first team All NBA, in a year or two, I'll be eligible for the supermax extension because I made first team All NBA that season. Okay. But it makes the requirements, a little bit stricter. Okay. Because like as a fan, I'm not going to pay $600-700 to go see the Lakers play the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio for LeBron not to play, for Luka not to play, before they traded him, Anthony Davis not to play, to not see Kyrie play, to not see Chris Paul play, to not see Victor Wembanyama play. Now, if I'm going to pay $600-700, I want to see these guys play. I work hard for my money. So if I'm going to work hard for my money and I'm going to use it to go to a basketball game or something, I want to see the stars. No offense to the role players on teams, okay? But I'm there to see LeBron. I'm there to see Luka. I'm there to see Victor Wembanyama. I'm there to see Giannis Antetokounmpo. All these guys. But yeah, I mean, as fans, we're sick of it. We're sick of all these guys resting. And in a world now where our healthcare system is at an all-time, I would say they have more options to go to now than the players did in the 80s and the 90s. The players in the 80s and the 90s had to grind, playing back-to-back games, playing 3 games in 4 nights, playing 4 games in 6 days or 5 days. That's what happened in the 80s and the 90s. And now it's very rare that you play a back-to-back game. It's very rare. You'll do it a couple times a season, but not like they were doing in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s when it comes to scheduling. Okay. So, Ray, what are your solutions to solving this problem? Okay. First one. I think you limit the season. I think that's the simplest solution you do. I think you go from 82 games and I think you go to 70. Okay. Now, Ray, wouldn't the games requirement change because you're lowering the season? Yes, you're absolutely right. Okay. But if I'm going to limit it from 82 games to 70 games, so to qualify, I need to play 65 games for 82 games. Okay. So I'm going to take 12 games away, okay, from the season. I'm only going to take 10 games away from the requirements. Okay. So if I go to 70 games, you want to qualify for all these awards, first, second, third team All NBA, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, all that. You got to play in 55, 56 games. Okay, so you're gonna need to play in more games in a shorter time frame, and it would kind of insinuate the players to play more because we have 12 less games. That's a decent amount of the season. That's over 12% of the season. So they're not going to have that bubble because a lot of teams won't start taking the season seriously till about 30 games in. Okay, so if you limit 12 games, it'll get the players to play more, to compete more. Okay, and I just think, if you guys can't play in an 82-game season, okay, I'm cool with that. Okay, but we're gonna limit it to 70 games, which means your contracts are going to go down. Okay, until y'all can prove to us that you can play, all these games. Okay, we're gonna shorten the season. Okay, and over the long term, that's gonna hurt y'all's contracts because teams aren't gonna pay, $75 million for you to play in 70 games. So the contracts are gonna go down. So it gets the players to play more. You do it for a year or two. If the players in the league show that they're going to take this seriously, okay, then maybe in 2-3 years you go back to 80 games. Okay. But my second option, it's really a simple one, really. I think contracts should be play-based. If they're going to rest and they're going to take time off, hey, by all means. Okay. Now, Ray, what do you mean by that? What I mean by a play-based contract is, let's just say, I'm going to use LeBron as an example, right? If I'm going to pay LeBron $60 million a year, right? Okay, $60 million for an 82-game season, right? I know LeBron's not going to play in 82 games. He's 40 years old, okay? So he's making 60 million or 58 million, right? So when I go over this contract with LeBron, okay, I'm like, okay, every game that you play, I will give you $600,000. Or I will give you $700,000. Every game that you play. Okay? For every game that you don't play, I'm only going to give you $175,000. Okay? That's 25% of what he would get if he played in a game, right? Okay? So like, Ray, that's 4 times, less that he gets for not playing. Okay? Yes, it's a big difference, but it's going to get the players to play more, knowing that, wow, I'm missing out on $550,000 by $525 by not playing. Oh shit, I need to play in these games. I'm trying to get my money. I'm trying to get my bread right now. So it's a perfect option, to me, because it's going to get the players to play more. And then I break it down like this. I'm like, okay, LeBron, based on this contract, I'm giving you $700,000 for every game that you play. So to qualify to get your $60 million, you're going to need to play in X amount of games. Okay? Now, I don't know the exact math on that, but, he's like, oh, well, if I get $700,000, I play 10 games, that's $7 million. Okay? To get to 60 million, I would have to play 9 times that, basically, he gets to that money, but 700,000 is like a broad, you could give him 850, to play in every single game. And eventually he'll get to that 60 million if, he plays in these games. And that's just my personal outlook on it. I think you could either, A, limit the games from 82 to 70, and B, make the contracts, play-based. You get your full guaranteed money if you play, if you rest, or, if you rest or you're load managing, you get a fourth of your pay. That's a lot of money. If I'm going to offer you $900,000 and you don't play and you make $225,000, that's more than a lot of us make in a year. So, I want to hear X, Y, and Z. I was like, yes, and they do get taxed higher than we do. Okay, but they also make more. So that's the reason why. But yeah, you limit the games from 82 to 70, and then I think my next solution is you make it play-based. You get X amount if you play, okay? If you don't play, you get this amount, okay? So you never know what your contract's going to be, okay, until you play, like the season. So, like if I'm going to get $900,000 for playing a game, okay, well, I need to do the math. How many games do I need to play in order to get my $60 million a year? You know what I mean? But that's going to be it for today's videos, guys. Don't forget to hit the like, comment, and subscribe button to the channel today. I really want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, okay? What would you do to change load management? What would you do to make, for an example, the All-Star game better? What would you do to stop the load management so we can get back to the basketball that we were watching 10, 15 years ago when, the Kobe Bryants of the world were still playing, when Gilbert Arenas, Steve Francis, all these guys in the early 2000s were playing. But yeah, give me your opinions in the comments below, guys. And until next time, you guys have a good one.